All right, this is the second lesson in our first unit on measurement for Math 10-3. And this, unfortunately, is a lesson on the imperial system, okay, which is, in comparison to the first lesson on the metric system, just a total mess. Okay, so, um, but the math really isn't that hard. You get to use your calculator the whole time. You have on your formula sheet everything that you need to do this. Like in a similar way to the last video, one of the biggest challenges you'll have is just figuring out or accidentally forgetting at some point whether or not you should be multiplying or dividing. Okay, so um, let's just go through a couple things and you'll kind of get the idea. All right, so the imperial system, everything we're doing today is going to be about measuring lengths. Okay, so in this case, rather than using millimeters, centimeters, meters, the imperial system uses inches, feet, yards, and miles. There is not a commonly used unit that is smaller than inch, which is why on a tape measure you have to do things like 1/16 of an inch, right? Or 5/16 of an inch, or 3/8 of an inch, and so on. Okay, so unfortunately they don't really use much smaller than this, and so if you have worked in construction or plan on working in construction, you will get very familiar with the fractions on a tape measure. Okay, so yes, we have inches, which is 12 inches makes a foot, and so inch is about so big, foot's about so big. A yard is 3 feet, so 3 of those is pretty close to a meter, and then you get up to miles, okay, which is larger than a kilometer. Okay, so quite a long distance. Okay, which of the following units is bigger? I think everyone should know that a foot is bigger than an inch, and I'll let you piece together the order there just for some practice. Okay, so as I already said, 1 foot is the same thing as saying 12 inches, and 1 yard is 3 feet. Okay, and 1 mile is 5280, okay, feet. Okay, so a mile is 5,280 feet, which is just a nice, fun number. Okay, so I remember that. You don't need to memorize this. It is on your formula sheet, but I remember this as 52 is in 52 cards on the deck, feel like 52 pickup. Okay, and then the 80, okay, the 2 and the 8 make 10. Okay, so if I can remember 52 is the first number, I remember 2 and 8 make 10. Okay, that gets me there. I did have to memorize that for work, the previous job, so in this course you don't need to memorize it, but in the future, who knows. So now let's do a couple examples of converting between different units. Okay, so how many inches is in 2 feet? Okay, so 1 foot is 12 inches. Okay, a yard is 3 feet, a mile's either you could say a mile is 1,760 yards, or you could say it's 5280 feet. Okay, so if 1 foot is 12 inches, okay, then 2 feet must be 24 inches, right? If 1 is 12, if we have 2 of them, right, getting twice as big, it's going to be twice as many inches as well, right? 3 feet would be 36, 4 feet would be 48, and so on, right? Every time we're just adding 12 inches. So this one you could just kind of get by common sense. Okay, when we start getting bigger numbers though, what we're going to be doing is saying, well, what do we do to our feet? Like, what's the pattern here? How do we go from feet to inches? Right, we could add 12 every time, but that would take forever, right? But what we're doing in all of these cases is we're multiplying by 12. Okay, just like in the last video, we were multiplying by 10 or dividing by 10 all the time. In this case, if we had 1 foot and we times it by 12, it would tell us how many inches we would get. We have 2 feet and we times it by 12. It'll tell us that we need 24 inches to make the same amount. Okay, so look at this and say, like, I'm starting with feet and going to inches. What am I doing to this to get that? What am I doing to 1 to get 12? I'm multiplying by 12. So exact same idea here. How many feet are in 4 yards? So what am I doing to my yards in order to get feet? Okay, 1 going to 3. I'm multiplying by 3. Okay, you're never going to add. Okay, in these situations, you're always multiplying. So don't say plus 2 here. Okay, if you're not sure, you can think about it by writing it out. Like 1 yard is 3 feet. 2 yards must be then 6 feet, and so on. Okay, we're not adding by 2, we're multiplying by 3 to get these numbers. So multiplying by 3. So 4 yards going to feet, we're going to say 4 times 3 would tell us the number of feet. It'd be 12 feet in 4 yards. Now, so yeah, here comes a bigger number, right? 16 feet to inches. So we have feet, and we're going 2 inches. We're multiplying by 12. So 16 feet times 12. Okay, how many inches would that give us? It would give us 160 would be 10, plus another 30, 192 inches. All right, so that brings us to some harder questions. So if we want to go from miles to inches, okay, this is going to be a 2-step process because there's no conversion here that tells me how many inches are in 1 mile. Okay, I can't just multiply by one number. So, but what I can do is I can go from, like, I know how to go from feet to inches. So if I can get miles into feet, then I can take that number and turn that into inches. Okay, so let's just start by thinking of this as like part 1 of the problem. Okay, we're going to just get it into feet. So 1 mile, we're going to multiply by 5,280 to get how many feet. Okay, so in 1 mile, we know that there is, say, 1 times 5,280. Okay, 1 times anything is just itself, so it is 5,280 feet. Okay, which brings us to the second step of our problem. Okay, we don't just want feet, we want inches. So how do we turn feet into inches? Okay, so we are multiplying by 12 to do that. So we have said that 1 mile is the same thing as 5,280 feet. And so now let's take that 5,280 and multiply by 12 to tell us how many inches we need. Okay, so turns out we needed a large number of inches. Okay, 63,360 inches makes up 1 mile. So what makes that one harder is just that you have to do 2 steps. So the next example is harder for a different reason. So the next example says how many inches are in 4 feet and 11 inches. Okay, so think of this as again, it's like a 2-step problem where it's kind of giving us 2 measurements that are being added together here. Okay, 4 feet and also 11 inches together. So think of it like this. We have 4 feet. Okay, we have 4 feet and 11 inches more. Okay, not quite to scale. Okay, but we have 4 feet and 11 inches. So if we want to find out just how many inches are there total, well, we already know the 11 inches in inches. We just need to convert this. Okay, so 4 feet into inches, we just need to multiply by 12. Okay, so this section, I'm just going to say 4 feet times 12 will give me 48 inches. Okay, so this section here is 48 inches, and this section here is 11 inches. So total, right, if I want to know the total distance here, would be 48 plus 11 inches. 48 plus 11 would give me 59 inches. Okay, so it's also kind of a 2-step problem, but for a different reason. And this one kind of takes both of them. Okay, so this is very, very similar. It's saying, okay, 5 miles and 16 yards. So 5 miles, there's my 5 miles. Okay, and also 16 yards on top of that. Okay, 5 miles and 16 yards. how many feet are there in this total distance? So first, let's figure out this big chunk here. Okay, and we'll, on your formula sheet, you can find this same chart here. We'll say how many miles or how many feet in 1 mile, right? So what are we doing to our miles to get feet? We are multiplying by 5,280. So 5 miles would be 5 times 5280. That would tell us how many feet. So 5 times 5280 will tell us how many feet are in 5 miles. And then to find out the 16 yards, we need to say how do we go from yards to feet? Okay, we multiply by 3. 1 yard is 3 feet, so we're multiplying by 3 to go from yards to feet. So this section here will be 16 times 3. So if you put this into your calculator, okay, this one's going to give you 26,400 feet. Okay, 5 miles is this many feet, and 16 yards would be 48 feet. So then your final answer, okay, we want to know this total distance all the way across. We need to add these two numbers together. Okay, so it'd be this plus this would end up giving us that. Okay, 26,400 plus 48 is 26,448. So I would recommend pausing the video here and then doing these practice problems. But if you'd rather, you can just carry on and do them all at the end. So now we're going to talk about going from small units into large units. So all the problems before, we were taking big units and then turning them into small units. So in all those cases, we were getting to multiply. Okay, multiply by 12, multiply by 3, multiply by 1760, or multiply by 5280. Now we're going to go from our smaller units to our bigger units. Okay, so if we're going to use bigger units, we won't need as many of them to measure the same amount of distance. So we're going to, in this case now, be dividing. Okay, when we are going the other direction, okay, if I have inches and now I want to go to feet, okay, how do I get from 12 to 1? Right? Okay, in this case, I'm dividing by 12. I'm going from a big number to a small number, so I'm dividing in this case. So it's divide by 12. This going this way, here would be divide by 3. Going here would be divide by 1760, and this one would be divide by 5280. Okay, so this says I want to go from inches to feet. Okay, I got 36 inches. I want to turn them into feet. So going from inches here over to feet. 12 inches, 1 foot. Okay, we're dividing by 12. So I'm just going to say 36 divided by 12. And that gives me 3. Okay, 3 feet. So 36 inches is the same thing as 3 feet. How many yards is 54 feet? Okay, so I'm starting with 54 feet and turning it into yards. So feet to yards, 3 to 1. Okay, I'm dividing by 3. So I'm going to say 54 divided by 3. And that's going to give me 18 yards. Okay. And then I have 10,560 feet into miles. Okay, so starting with feet, going to miles. So I'm going from here to here. I'm dividing. I'm getting smaller. Okay, dividing by 5280. Okay, and this, so I'm going to take that number, divide it by 5280. This divided by that, and it's just going to give me 2 miles. Okay, last couple conversion questions. So how many feet is 40 inches now? Okay, this one's not round. So this one's going to give me a decimal number. Okay, if I'm going from inches to feet, okay, I'm dividing by 12. So I'm saying 40 divided by 12. And this is going to give me 3.333 repeating forever feet. Okay, so this is technically correct. Okay, this is how many feet it is. Okay, but typically what we do with the imperial system is that we would write it not quite with this decimal, but we'd say like it's 3 feet, and then how many inches is it? Okay, so one way that we can do this is we could think of it as like, well, we had 40 inches. Okay, that was like what we started off with. Okay, let's say that's 40 inches. And now what we've said is it's this many feet. Okay, it's like 3 feet and a bit. Okay, it's like this 3 feet and this decimal number here, like the 0.333. Right? 3 and a bit. So what I really want to know is how much is this bit in inches? So how we can figure that out is say, if I can figure out this length here, right? I know that this length is 3 feet. How many inches is 3 feet? We're going from feet to inches is times by 12. 3 feet be 3 times 12 is 36 inches, right? 3 feet is 36 inches. And then we just have this little bit left over here. Okay, so if I want to know how many inches is this, right? The whole total is 40. This section is 36 inches. So the difference here is just 4 inches. 36 plus an extra 4 would get me all the way to 40. So that's one way to figure out this distance here, this last little bit. This is about as tough as it could possibly get. I don't think there's any questions like this on the practice problems, so don't be too stressed if this isn't making a ton of sense. But I think this is the easiest way to visualize it is, and to solve this problem is to say, if we get an answer like this, okay, 40 inches is 3 feet and a bit. If we want to figure out what this last bit is in inches, figure out what that first chunk is. How much is this in inches? Right, this was 36. To get that last little bit, it's just how much more do I need to get to 40? So this answer is correct here. The best answer though would be it is 3 feet and 4 inches. Okay, and these ones are tricky for the same reasons as some of the stuff we were doing before, or this one is, where if I want to go from from inches to miles, okay, I need to divide by 12 to get to feet, and then divide by 5280 to get to miles. Okay, it's a two-step thing. So first I'm going to divide by 12, and I'm going to take whatever I get and then divide it by 5280. Okay. How many yards are in 22 feet? So this is, again, one that's not going to be round. Okay, I would take, 22 feet and divide by 3 to get to yards. 22 divided by 3 to get to yards, and that's going to give me 7.333 repeating all forever and ever. Okay, so again, I could figure this out by saying, well, like how this decimal number is what we don't like. Okay, how could I turn that back into feet? Well, my 7 yards, okay, so, how many feet is that? 7 times 3 would be 21, and I've got 1 foot left over. Okay, that 1 foot, it's like my remainder, right? That 1 foot left over, that's where I'm getting this 0.33. So this would be 7 yards. This answer is correct, and it's fine if you leave it this way. But the perfect kind of best answer in this case would be like 7 yards. And I've got 1 foot left over. Okay, because this 7 yards is like 21 feet, and then 1 more foot makes my 22. Okay, last little thing in this video is measuring with a tape measure. Okay, and I think I'm going to cut this one off here actually, because we had to do a lot of different stuff. So we'll come back to this in the next video.